Hello guys, this is Leo from Codes and Posters, and today I'm here with this quote here from Lenin, Vladimir Lenin. And this quote is, "A lie told often enough becomes the truth." So, I think that it's a very profound quote, in a way, because what is the truth, right? So, do you really believe there is a truth, there is a right and wrong? Or is it something that you believe because of your culture, right? Because of your of the things that they taught you since you were a child, that made you believe that there is a truth and there is a good and the bad and there is a lie. And I think this quote here, it's probably one of the most important quotes that I ever designed, because if there's one thing that I believe, is that I don't believe in anything, and I don't believe in truth. There is no truth, and this is the big paradox and the tragic comedy of life, that nothing is real, that reality exists inside of each one of us, and each one of us sees reality in a totally different way, right? And we tend to think that or at least we want to think, or we want to believe and expect that people, our friends, our colleagues at work, and our society, our country, everyone else, the group of people in the community, we want to believe that we are all aligned on the same page, where in fact we are very much distanced from each other, especially during these times. And I think the internet, in a way, in a very paradoxical way, have actually exacerbated these differences even more. And even though we are more connected than ever, we are more different than ever to each other. And then you want to believe that there's a right and there's a wrong, or you want to believe that there is a truth, and you want to believe that your country is great, and you want to believe that some company is doing some good to the world, or you want to believe that you are a good person, and you want to have all these beliefs. But this is all a construction. Society creates all these constructions, and everything that you see here, everything that you live, and everything that you experience is a construction. And basically it's a construction of your mind mostly, right? Not even of society. And society creates all this construction. So you want to believe in money, right? You want to believe that money has any value, but it is us that invented money, and it is us that attribute some value to money. And you might see that in other societies, money doesn't have any value, right? And then if you go deep into this rabbit hole, you will see that nothing is real. Everything is a construction. Everything is possible. And we are always breaking these paradigms and these barriers, right? So society is always evolving, and it is, you can see that whenever there's evolution, it is because we ourselves are in constant conflicts with ourselves, right? And we are constantly fighting with ourselves because we want to defend our beliefs, because our ego needs to survive, and our ego just can't we just can't relax for one fucking minute and just realize that maybe everything that you believe might be wrong, and actually there isn't wrong or right. Everything is subjective. So what you don't want to realize, or at least what your ego really don't want to, is not going to be able to realize, because your ego needs to survive, is that everything that you believe is only your point of view. And it's not saying that what you believe is wrong and what you believe is right, but what you don't want to acknowledge is that there's no truth. There's no right or wrong. It's just a bunch of opinions. It's just a bunch of point of views. That's what it is. And no, you can't agree with some things. There's nothing that is absolute in this world. You might say that death is a certain, but someone else might say that no, that death is just a passage. You're not dying. You're just passing to another dimension. One person might say that. So in that sense, like, if you really think deep about these existential questions, then you start really to question yourself, like, what am I doing with my life, and why am I here, and why am I so sad? Why do I get sad anyway, if nothing makes sense anymore and nothing matters? Why am I getting sad? Why do I want to do these things? Why do I get angry? Why do I want more money? You might start asking yourself, or and I think it's in my personal opinion, it's very good that you're coming with these questions, because yes, if you really go down into it, you see that you can do anything. You can be anything in your life. And fuck society, fuck your family, fuck your friends and what people tell you, and fuck all this moralization. Because this moralization that happens in the world today, and this polarity, right? Like, why do you need to pick a side? Why do you have to choose a side? Why are people trying to force you to choose one side where you can actually see all the sides and you can actually understand all the points of views? But the main point is, I think, what I want to try to say here is, notice that whenever you choose something, or you decide that something is good for you, it's basically your ego is telling you that for your self-survival, right? Your ego is this voice inside of you, and your ego cares about your self-survival, right? And in that sense, I would like to understand more about suicide, because if the ego cares about the self-survival, why then that ego tells people to suicide, to kill themselves? This happens, it's kind of, I don't know, but I believe it's kind of a suffering, right? That I think your ego, in a way, is, I believe if you're really suffering a lot, and it's this kind of suffering that is consuming you very deep, and you just can't do anything about it, and you just can't, you want to do something with your life because you see your friends and you see other people doing stuff, and you also want to be like them, but you can't, because in your mind you're missing some nutrients in your mind. Not nutrients, you're missing like chemicals, right? There's some chemicals imbalanced in your brain that is causing this pain in yourself that you just can't function, right? And people say when they're depressed, they say that they just sometimes they just can't even get out of bed, right? I've never been depressed. I mean, very lucky for me to be here talking about these things, and I'm not the most happy person. I'm not the most joyful person out there. I have many problems with insecurity, and I have many problems with many problems with my ego also. Many problems in general. I'm a very troubled person inside. But I never been depressed, in a sense that I never been in a situation where I couldn't get up and do the things I had to do, But I've been sometimes a little bit on that side, but not on that point. So I can't really understand. The only thing I can understand about that is it's a chemical thing in your brain. It's just a matter of chemicals, and it might help if you release some chemicals, some hormones or some things in your brain. You might get happier because you do sometimes. If you like, and this is what happens with drugs, right? When you take a drug, it's just changing the composition in your brain of the chemicals, and then you just feel happy. Automatically you just feel happy. It's like a magic. It's like a miracle. That's the power that a drug can do to people, right? So what is the most crazy thing about this that I'm talking here is that whatever we see, whatever we experience is passing through our brain, right? So our feelings and our perceptions about reality and our perceptions about life, they are just something that our brain is telling us, right? And our brain could tell a totally different story, right? Because we are humans, but if we were dogs, if I was a cat or an animal, and I was watching recently a lot of this BBC Earth, National Geographic videos of animals, and nature is such an amazing thing. Like nature, we are animals, and sometimes we get so much into life, into our society and things, that we just forget that we are animals. We just forget that we are animal species. We have the same needs of animals. We have to eat, we need to eat, we burn calories, we need to survive, and we have survival instincts, and we need to procreate. We need to pass our genes. It's the game of life, right? That is very, like, it's a magical thing if you think about it. What life is, and what nature and our role in nature, on nature, right? And see, we have this brain. Our brain has many limitations, but many capacities that made us be here where we are now, compared to other animals. But other animals, they are also incredibly smart. And animals, you think animals don't have intelligence, but of course they do. They need a lot of intelligence to hunt, to care about their survival, right? And in a way, we are not different from other animals, because we have our egos, and our egos really cares about surviving, about our survival, right? And that's why, going back to this question, I really don't understand suicide, right? The concept of suicide, because I haven't seen, or maybe correct me if I'm wrong, but I haven't seen other animals suiciding. Usually when you see an animal, usually you see the animal fighting for his self-survival, right? Yeah. And it's incredible how nature, how we evolve, right? We evolve from the monkeys. Evolution. It's interesting to see how other animals also evolved. And just life is something incredible. if you consider that we are here and we are 6 billion people interconnected, and the vast majority, the diversity that we have of species and cultures, and everything working in synergy, nature working, everything is synergetic, and one thing connected to the other, atoms connected, and one thing leading to another in this kind of organized chaos. I mean, it's just astonishing. And again, coming back from this quote, not wanting to deviate much from this quote, but for me, it's incredible. For other people, boring. For the people, depressing, sad. Right? So when I guess this is the point that I try to make is nothing is real. Watching these animal videos helps me to realize that through the brain of a bear, or through the brain of a shark or a whale or any animal or a tiger, their notion of reality and their perception of the world is totally different from our perception of the world. And my perception to the world is different than your perception to the world, right? I wonder if animals, each one of them, also have different perceptions. Like, for example, I wonder if a group of cows, each one of them has a different way of looking at the world or a different perception. Or I wonder if they all align in the same goals. But we are also, even though we have different perceptions of the world, I think our perceptions are different in a more philosophical way, but our basic instincts are the same, right? So this is something very interesting too, because I'm very different from a Chinese, but put me and a Chinese in a situation of life and death, and most probably we would act the same, and we would fight for our survival the same way. So we are different. We have different environments. We are different based on the environment that we grew up, and the culture and everything, the climate, everything is kind of influencing us. But we have the same animal instincts because we are animals, right? And I think it kind of helps you in a way to be more open-minded about life and about the world. If you start to consider the fact that you are an animal and that you have basic needs of survival, like you need to eat, you need to sleep, you need to survive, you need shelter, you need the basic things to survive, and that applies to all of us. Yeah, so that's it. That's what I have to say from this quote. Not sure I spoke very precisely about this quote, but I think I went a little bit deep philosophically about life, but that's how it is, right? And I hope you enjoyed. Thank you very much, and see you again. Bye.